everybody. Welcome to Podcast The Motion Picture. Yet again, it's myself, Connor, and Michael, or Michael, Connor, and myself in some social circles. Anyway, we're going to talk about movies we've seen lately. And whatever the heck else is going to transpire. Um, so, I guess, Mikey Mike, you start us off. You just went to 28 days later. Everybody, this is spoiler free, so nobody freak out. Nobody gets scared. Not gonna be a spoiler. One particular thing. No spoilers. This movie, as per my brother's knowledge, doesn't require you to have seen the first two movies. So don't even panic there. You just show up for 28 years later. Yeah, 28 years later, and you're good to go. Now, Mike, what makes 28 years later so much better than the other two movies? Other than years is a bigger amount of time than weeks or days.
I think they had some money this time. You can just tell. The original one I love. It's very good, but fairly low budget operation. The second one has, I feel like, a couple good parts in an otherwise interesting movie. The third one, though, just feels like they had time and money and what they needed to get done, what they wanted to get done. And I really loved it. I think it's very, very well done. You're correct. Definitely don't need to have seen any of the first two. It's just a zombie movie if you want it to be. It ties into the bigger picture, but doesn't really matter. So yeah, I'd recommend people go see it. I feel like it was really good. I'd like to say more. I'm afraid I'll drop some spoilers if I do.
It's all right. Well, no, that's not all right. Don't spoil it. I actually wanted to Google something here. Budgets here, as you mentioned here. Yeah, the original 28 days later, budget 8 million. 28 weeks later, budget of 15 million. Whereas 28 years later, at a reported budget of about 75 million. So yeah, they had a little bit of cash to go into this. That's almost as much money as Sinners had. Sinners, I think, was about 90 million. And that one was hotly talked about for having
And
such
I
a high
mean,
budget.
20 years later looks as good as any zombie movie I've ever seen. I don't know which ones have what budget and money and whatnot, but whatever they spent, I feel like they spent it in the right places. We've also got some great acting. The set is wonderful. I liked the premise. I don't like what zombie movies are tough when they try to tackle too big of a topic, like on the world scale. They always seem to be better when they just focus on like a particular area or story or event. Um, it's just something a movie can tackle in a reasonable amount of time, and that's what they did. So it ended up being very good.
I just watched earlier today. Actually, I watched it the whole way. I had the day off, so I watched it. Another zombie related topic here. The show The Ones Who Live with Andrew Lincoln and Danai Guerra. I don't know how to say her name. Probably very simple, like Danny Guerrera. Anyway, the Rick and Michonne storyline in which they kind of cover this topic of this bigger ideology of having a bigger connected across the whole of the United States, perhaps even the world of this kind of a big connected city and population. And it does get a bit big for britches, but something I think The Walking Dead always does a good job of is whereas things escalate and grow, there is always like a finite expansion to what places can be. There can be a giant hidden city, but like that's it. Like it's not then there's more technology. It's just what you have. Um, but yeah, so I'm you had also said you had said that in 28 years later, essentially the whole of the world is doing pretty much okay, except for the United Kingdom. The mainland of the UK is in quarantine, which is not a big spoiler. That's just the premise of the movie, right?
If I recall,
Correct.
even the second movie is like the first and second movies are tied into just Europe. I don't know if it ever in any of them ever expands past Europe. If I recall, it's been a long time since I've seen the other ones.
I don't know either. I also don't really know if it's much of like a, I don't know where 28 days later, if it comes from, if it was like let me Google, it's 28
The
days later.
Rage virus.
It's 28 days
I also
later.
think, obviously, throughout the history of zombie movies, there's all these premises of zombies, whether they're fast or slow. In some, they like to eat brains. In many, you have to kill them by shooting them in the head or whatever. You know, there's all these kind of rules to zombies that are kind of like persistent in different movies and video games. I feel like this movie introduced a new type of zombie thing I can't say what it is, obviously, but I thought it was kind of cool. They like took one step further and like introduced their own unique zombie attribute.
Um, darn it, I was gonna say something. Now I've completely there goes my mind. It's out the window. And 28 days later, around 28 years later. How's
Well,
that
then
dead air
again,
silence?
didn't they?
Well, let me fill Reed's awkward silence
Thanks.
by adding that
Gosh.
Reed's or not Reed, the ending of the movie, not the ending, the movie itself has Ray Fiennes in it. I think I'm saying that right. It's the most insane pronunciation of a name based on its spelling I've ever encountered, but that's besides the point. Anyway, he's in the movie, and as always, he's fantastic. So you have that to look forward to as well.
Yeah, he is a gem, a star, if you will. I big spin-off zombie movie of its own. Another English-based zombie movie that frequently talked about here. Not really frequently, but one episode. Shaun of the Dead, if you will, parody on a lot of zombie movies. Is also very English-based in that it only takes place in London or wherever the heck they are. I think outside of London. Anyway, I think in that, in terms of global scale, like I think it all ends up getting contained. Like I think humans actually end up winning. Like at the end of the movie, like
Yeah,
they
I think so.
pretty
Because
much, yeah, like it's over. Like they got them. They beat the zombies, and so I've always appreciated that. I think it's cool this thought of having its own contained part of the world that's just a terrible, torn apart place, zombies and whatnot. I always think about in Mad Max, we don't ever really get to see the whole of the world, and supposedly it's all destroyed, but you never really get to see the Americas or Europe
I
or
love that
Asia.
they don't explain it. Let's just
Yeah,
leave it as it is.
like we're
The more you
just
explain that world, the worse it gets, I feel like.
yeah,
Have you guys seen the original Mad Max? The original.
Yeah,
nah,
You have.
I have.
I'm not.
You
It's
want to hear something really,
absurd.
really sad? I watched it with Connor.
Hey,
No,
don't
you
feel
didn't.
bad. Don't feel bad,
No, you
Connor.
didn't because
That
I
one
watched it the
cuts.
other day and it was definitely Mike. I don't know if you've seen it. It it's
We
like
have seen it.
modern day. It doesn't make any sense. It's nothing that I remember. I've never seen it. I've never seen it prior to about a week ago when I watched it.
That hurts even more. And there's several of the old ones.
Shut up. No, no, no. There's got to be a Mad Max 2 that people might consider the first, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, there's
All I
multiple.
know is, yeah, I know. What I'm saying is this original one, young Mel Gibson, Immortan Joe, the Knight Rider. It's so weird. It's like cinema had only come so far. Like they didn't have the ability to create a set on the
Oh, for
scale of
sure.
like
I mean,
That's,
current
work with what
Mad
they have.
Max.
that's why it takes place in Australia.
Basically,
They just went out to someone's backyard in Australia and started shooting.
that's it. They went to like some Australian towns and it already looks desolate and like run down. So that's where it is. So it looks after watching current Mad Max and then watching that, it's not what I expected at all. It was kind of funny. I'm like, wow, this is
A little bit of a letdown.
yeah.
I remember a guy talking about in the state of Minnesota, they've been working on trying to build buff up some Tyler Perry level film stuff. Get our own little Minnesota Hollywood, Mollywood, if you will.
Mollywood.
Um,
Hollywood.
anyway, it's actually a really cool name, Mollywood. I might steal that I'll put that on a big sign somewhere, Mollywood. Anyway, they were talking about on the Iron Range, that's where most of the tax return benefits and grants will get you. So, it's good to film. And they were talking
I
about like, what's that?
oh, you can continue. I was just say I like the idea of bringing films to Minnesota, but at the same time, I don't like the idea of people discovering Minnesota.
I don't want word to really get out that Minnesota, can be almost okay in the summertime, but don't anybody listening understand summertime in Minnesota is also terrible. It's just awful.
Uninhabitable. If anyone's listening,
Really nasty business. That's why
miserable.
yeah. But I appreciate in the winters that for the most part, when you watch shows that take place in Minnesota, they're like almost always in the winter time.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
have you been there in the winter?
oh yeah,
No.
terrible in the winter, terrible place. Year round, I wouldn't move to Minnesota.
I would
Anyway,
never, ever travel, purchase, visit. No.
no. Now, the Deep South, I think a lot of people would do well to move there.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
primarily that's where people should be going.
Yeah. Anyway, man, I think my brain's shutting off today. I can feel like just, yeah. Something about something was being said about something, and now here we are. Connor, take us back in the trial thing. What was being said here? Oh, that guy who was talking about Minnesota. He described it, and he said, it's really, it's nice. Like, it'd be really good for like a period piece if you wanted to film something out of the 60s or 70s, because most of
Oh,
the towns are still built for it. And it was like, buddy, you don't gotta call out northern Minnesota like that.
you ass.
Like, you don't gotta
There
be
hasn't
so
been a.
direct.
There are towns that don't even know what the word renovation is.
Yeah.
If you drive up
Not
the
part of their local
range,
dialect.
drive
They
up the
could shoot some
range
movies up the range that would be really cool.
They could.
would be the
They could do
cheapest.
a lot of cool things, especially. Oh, I didn't want to say where. I'm not going to say what.
It'd be the cheapest period piece movie ever because they wouldn't have to change shit.
Oh no, they should just buy Taconite. Don't touch it. That's just a living set.
That is a
Just set
living
up some
set.
cameras, and the movie makes itself.
You get a daily movie.
You're not filming a drama or a romance, but
I think one of the most ridiculous news stories I read was earlier this year when they were talking about renovations to the XL Energy Center and potentially moving the Hockey Hall of Fame from the Iron Range to the cities. And it's like, yeah,
eventually
you
they're gonna. They do
go
it every
get
year.
it.
They try.
Yeah, like you guys are welcome to go up there and try and take that from the Iron Range people. Like that's the one thing they have. They have the Hockey Hall of Fame and methamphetamines, and that's it. They have the ghosts of the
That's it.
miners that came before.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. They have rumors of iron ore mining.
You know what show would do well? Ranger Wants a Wife. There it is.
Yes.
We've
Big old
had Farmer
spinoff.
Wants a Wife, whatever.
I
Ranger
got
Wants a
buddies who do
Wife?
all now.
My goodness.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I can't. That show Cowboy Wants a Wife is the one they got going on,
No,
correct?
they have Farmer, which is
Farmer Wants a Wife. Yeah. I just can't imagine, like, God bless the farmers, am I right, boys? God bless the farmers and God bless the troops. But I can't imagine any one of those guys on Farmer Wants a Wife, a farmer going on a reality television show to appeal to a beautiful woman who's there because most certainly just because of her looks. Mind you, I'm sure they all have good personalities, but it's television, so everybody's got to look good. I imagine every one of those farmers has to be just a deep racist. And maybe I'm wrong for generalizing.
oh, we watched a few episodes, I think of like the second season. Shockingly entertaining. I'll give it to them. I don't think any of the farmers want a wife. I didn't get that vibe at all. I don't know how they roped them into it, but I don't think any of them were particularly interested in anybody. So that's also part of the fun.
They could have called it Farmer Thinks About a Wife or
Farmers
Farmer
considering
Has an
there are
idea for a wife. Farmer Meets some women. But yeah, Ranger Wants a Wife is actually really good. Just getting a bunch of like 20, 30-year-old guys off the Iron Range,
oh
like,
it'd be absolutely insane. We all know we
yeah.
all have the perfect person in our head right now. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we do. You know how quickly production would shut down because of some sort of
Oh,
Not even
crime.
a
Yeah, horrible
scandal,
crime.
like yeah, I was
crime.
gonna say not a scandal, like a crime, a real crime
Actual human
against
trafficking because the guy
humanity.
misunderstood the situation. Actual human trafficking.
No, we
Yeah.
should leave that one in the brainstorming list.
That much more of an idea. Maybe that's a scripted show. Maybe
Yeah,
we
If
that's
we ever
write
do
down.
this, I bet we each pool our three best top picks and we got a good show.
I
Could
bet
you
there's some overlap.
imagine? Could you imagine how good the show would be? You get like, actual Iron Range guys, and then you send like 20 something, 30 something year old women into the Iron Range with no idea of what this place is. These guys with mustaches and beards like this, approaching this
But
like
not they're
25-year-old
they have mustaches like that's
Instagrammer.
not satirically. Like that's just their
That's
deal.
just what they do, yeah. A lit cigarette all the time. They're talking to children. They're in the pediatric ward, visiting their cousin's son. Like,
And they're so confident.
yeah. Oh, fellas, I think we got a show here.
I think we got a show.
We're bringing it to Mollywood. It's happening. Oh my good Lord. Okay, moving on. I don't even know how to segue to the next thing, but we people saw something at some point. Anyway, we've talked zombies here. Let's talk a little bit of vampires, if you will. I recently watched a movie based on a book that I didn't get to talk about. We were talking about a recording, or in a recording of one of these episodes, me and the fellas were talking about what I watched in the last week, and I completely forgot that I had watched this. So I didn't get to bring it up, so I'll bring it up now. Stephen King's The Salem Law. Is this flipped? Have I been flipped the whole time? This is news to me. Salem's Lot. Oh my God, I don't even recognize myself. Salem's Lot, if you will. Um, the movie is it's a good movie, but it's not really a good rendition of The Lot, if you will.
Well,
It's
which movie? They've done several.
that new one with Mr. Lewis Pullman.
Oh, don't get me started. Read.
I gotta look that up right now.
You know what's
Connor, don't watch any of the movies. Read the book.
Yeah, you do. Seriously, just pull that book up. If you want an
Read the book.
experience, if you want to have an experience like it, we all obviously know it and can't really get away from it because it's such a big thing. But Salem's Lot, you can actually survive the story and get to read it before anybody ever talks about it. But we're going to talk about it now, so your time's up, buddy. You should have read the book. Anyway, just kidding. We're not going to spoil anything.
It's amazing. And if I recall, it was like one of his first.
Yeah, it's pretty early.
Lewis
Like
Pullman
second or
eats
third
everything through a straw. Look how tiny his mouth is.
There's, there's
The closer it gets, the smaller it is.
there's a recurring thing, something of a zeitgeist, in which there's some actors coming to light who have small mouths. I bring you another exhibit. Glenn Powell has a really small mouth. If you look at
That's
this guy's
Chad
mouth,
Radwell to you, sir.
that's
I hate his fucking face. Sorry, I
it's
swore. I
nuts.
hate his face.
I
It's
love
such
that
a-
guy.
I like that guy, but his face is like you just
You
just
guys-
a little bit, zip, just shrunk it a little
I
bit.
feel like if you just
Tom
discovered
Holland.
him, you might not like him, but all the
Lips.
small roles he's had over the years are fantastic.
Mouths aren't
It's because I
sexy.
get the JD Vance vibe looking at Glenn Powell's face, where it's just a little too small, you know.
Oh, I don't even remember what JD Vance looks like anymore originally.
No, he looks like that. That's what he looked like originally. Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I'd say the State Department's gonna come down on us for saying all this, but jokes on them. We don't have a State Department anymore. Anyway, topical. Just lost it today, which is actually several months from before now. All righty. So yeah, The Lot, if you will. It goes this new Lewis Pullman movie, Lewis Pullman's The Lot. Wow. I just typed that so incorrectly. My keyboard got dyslexia. Salem's Lot, directed by Gary Dauberman, written by Stephen King and Gary Dauberman, with Lewis Pullman, Mackenzie Lee, and Jordan Preston Carter. Anyway, it's fine. It's pretty okay. If you want to watch an okay movie, watch it. If you want to see a really cool book, look at Salem Lot and then read it.
I feel like the movie, if you had never read the book and didn't know it existed, would be actually pretty good. The problem is it's based on a story that's just so many leagues better. It's insulting. I also don't think first off, any Stephen King book, but especially this one, can be done in a movie. It's got to be a show. You need many, many hours to try and wrap your head around it. The whole Stephen King thing is world building, character building, the slow burn. That's like his thing. And then you try to make a quick movie out of it. It just never works.
Yeah. Like, yeah, what is it? The runtime's about 150 minutes, I do believe. And
Like, what are you talking about? You could do a chapter in 150 minutes.
yeah, let's see. The
I got to read the book. I see that there's a 1979 miniseries.
There is, and it's actually good. And then they did a
This version
miniseries
is
with,
crazy.
was it Rob Lowe or whatever? They did a miniseries with him that I actually kind of liked. It was like, I don't know why I liked it, because I feel like no one else did, but I did. But yeah, that really old miniseries was good. And yeah, the movie thing, I don't know why they did that. But most Stephen King movies don't turn out very well. And I feel like it's all for the same problem. They're trying to tackle an enormous topic in a small runtime.
So yeah, Salem's Lot is a runtime of an hour and 51 minutes, and it's about 625 pages. At least that's what I flipped to. It's a couple more than that. The book, is about 1,100 pages, and it had to be split up into two movies. And let's see, it one is 2 hours and 15 minutes. And it three is a gigantic 2 hours and 49 minutes. And so it really makes you think that that math doesn't really add up. Whereas about 600 pages from the book of It is about 2 hours and 30 minutes if you average those out. So that's about almost 40 minutes cut that should have been to help create that whole 600 pages worth. So yeah, I feel like Salem's Lot can't be an hour and 54 minutes.
Hey, I don't think it can be 3 hours. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah,
I feel like my only critique of the book is it's too short. Like the world building is so brilliant, you just want more of it.
you
All the
do.
like characters and the people and the little events that happen in this, and the town is just, it's like the classic Stephen King town.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
the
I gotta read
background
this.
is awesome, the mystery behind the whole ordeal, and then just I like there's a lot of Stephen King books I feel like are often critiqued about people not liking the ending. This is one where I actually really liked the ending.
Yeah. No, I certainly love the ending. I, like you said, where it's one of those things where there could have been more to it. This book has an ending where it's like, God, he could have just expanded on that. Like, there's not really a reason that he ever needed to stop writing this thing
No,
until like you of
no.
course get to like the natural ending of win or lose. But like God, I feel like that's a book he must have just decided, yeah, I'll be done writing this now. Like, I guess I'm done. It's over.
It also is. So Stephen King seems to always revisit this topic of like childhood trauma and childhood horror, and this book is one of the best examples of that in the Old Manor. Which the newest movie actually does a cool scene with it. It's like one of the better parts of the book, in my opinion. But just one particularly like kind of unsettling childhood memory that I think he's really well known for.
What's that? As a
Uh,
child getting eaten by a monster?
well, just in general, and are you talking about like in his books?
Oh, just to constantly go back to it.
Oh
Something
no, I'm saying in a lot of his stories and books, he revisits this like theme of like things that happened as a child or things that are
yeah.
haunting people from their childhood.
Something interesting I read in my book on writing by Stephen King.
Oh, I was going to get you that book.
I love this book. It's really cool.
I'm glad you did.
I've never read it through all the way, but like I've read well into it a couple times, and I'll have to start over because I just lost my spot and I haven't opened it up anyway. That's fine in a while. Anyway, he talks about his childhood and growing up. I don't know unless he doesn't really care to share it in here. He doesn't seem to really have like a giant traumatic moment. So I've never really been able to think that he's writing from a place like, as a kid, something bad happened to him so directly. I'm sure, obviously something bad happens to everybody growing up. That's just natural. Something happens in everybody's life. That's the worst thing that ever happened as a kid. And everybody's got this terrible thing. That's normal. Everybody has highs and lows. Anyway, but this guy, though, he had a pretty cool childhood, it seemed. I guess I don't want to say cool, moved around a little bit. And he kind of got into writing satirically. Like, if I think I recall right, they made him do the school newspaper and he didn't want to do it. So he just made a joke out of it. And then I think the like head of the journalism or whatnot was like, you're really good at this. Like, you should just keep doing this. And so,
It's like the other guys when he learns to dance
yeah,
satirically.
yeah, something like that. I'm not a perfectly, but pretty much just like the other guys. Anyway,
Think I don't know this art shit?
yeah, Terry, that was really good.
I'd be talking more, but I've not read the book or seen
That's because you're
any
not cultured,
adaptations.
Connor.
That's all right, you uncultured swine. Here comes your moment of glory. Let's talk about another set of vampires, vampiricism, if you will. Sinners. Let's talk sinners. Yeah. Connor, what'd you think? Thoughts on the movie? Ryan Coogler, the Cooganator, if you will. Mr. Cougar to you.
Loved it. I'm a big Michael B. Jordan fan. And then there were two Michael B. Jordans in the same movie. Two of them. Somehow they got another.
They
And
got him again.
I appreciated a lot of the story of, I don't know how to say it. I don't know enough about, I don't know. There's been a new wave of like movies of black culture made by black directors. And you know what? Is this even directed by a black director?
Gotta be awkward
Yes.
if it wasn't.
Yes, this kind of
Great.
the guy who did Black Panther is the same guy who did Sinner. That's why you're getting
That's
that
okay.
same vibe.
So there's this new wave of stories being told and directed from black people about like black culture. And I think the movie, there are some scenes that do a really good job of like honoring that and like the history of black culture. So for that, I love the movie for that. Very quotable, very quotable. Um, it's a little strange. It's like it's almost out of place because you never see a story about a black gangster from that time period who's so suave and cool and confident. It almost feels out of place, but it's done very well. Um, and beyond that, the vampires. I like this take on vampires. It's a little different. It's unique. At least to my knowledge, I don't remember any movies quite tackling it this way. It's almost like a childish version of a vampire. I don't know how to explain it, but I really liked it. So great movie. I'm gonna watch it again.
Could you elaborate on it's almost like a child-like version? I'm not like ridiculing by any means. Don't put your guard up. I'm just curious, what do you mean by that?
I don't want to spoil it, but there's an aspect about the vampire's behavior
It's almost
that
a little bit like
no
blue.
that they need to be invited in.
Well, yeah,
And to,
that's
That,
vampires.
that's a
Vampires got to
vampire
get
thing.
invited in.
no, that's that's a child's take on a vampire. I feel like
What?
No,
That's in like
that's
all
vampires.
sorts of
That's
vampire
all
movies.
vampires.
That's
name
like
other vampire.
persistence. That's probably the
Name other
most.
vampire.
Okay, Salem's Lot.
Yeah,
Anything other than Salem's Lot.
100.
Uh,
Every vampire movie. That's like the main premise is they have to be invited
yeah,
in.
what we do in the
30 Days of Night.
shadows.
30 Days of Night. Okay,
Yeah, it's not
That's the
all
exception.
vampires.
30 Days a Night is the
isn't that a
exception.
comedy? Isn't that a comedy?
What's
What?
that? What we do in the
What did you just
shadows?
say?
What we do in
Yeah.
the shadows? Yeah, it's a comedy, but they're vampires.
How about Lost
So
Boys? That's the
that's a
whole like.
comedy. Salem's Lot is old, so maybe not childish, but rather old
Whoa!
school.
How about
Fairy
Lost Boys,
tale,
Connor?
childish. You might think I'm ranting and rambling like I don't know what I'm talking about, but there are plenty of vampire movies that is not a part of them at all. It's a very classical take, but it's one that I don't think has really been visited in modern action serious vampire movies.
You you
Lost Boys.
are you are right to say that. Yeah, it's not really something that's. I don't think it's common or uncommon. I feel like in my mind, it's kind of this 50-50 thing. Either they do it or don't. I guess I don't know if people run up a tally mark on do you need to invite them in or not. Um,
How about Van Helsing? I don't think they do it in that one.
No, yeah.
no.
Yeah, you're right. It's probably 50-50, it feels like.
Yeah,
In,
yeah.
in
Like
Sinners, it's like the movie's very good, and it's like comedic, comedic horror, like dark humor, dark horror, or comedic horror. And it offers a lot of good scenes that kind of revolve around that inability to walk into a home. I'm gonna shut up because I'm gonna start spoiling it, and I don't
no,
want to
it's
do that.
cool. Yeah, we I know we covered it towards when it came out. Me and Engen were the two. I think that seen it for sure. I don't know if the others had. I don't recall, but yeah, we got to talk a lot about it. Engen was a little I don't know. He liked it, but I don't think as much as I liked it. I think to me this is gonna certainly be the best horror movie of 2025. Not a doubt in my mind. That's how well put together this thing is. In terms of like the 2020s, like this is up there. This is I don't know, maybe I'm not remembering a horror movie from the 2020s, but like I don't recall another horror movie that did this for me. Not like it scares me by any stretch, but just tells a story like this. Like it's good. It does a good
You get
job.
sucked in.
Yeah. And the music too. The way anyway, sorry, enough. Enough. Invitation revoked.
You just quote
Um,
your own movie.
what's that? I got enough. Yeah.
You just quoted your own
Wow, look at
movies.
that. Just it flows like that. Um, I fun story about vampiricism. When me and Angan in the summer of 2024 began talking, he'd come all the way from Boise, and we began talking about revamping mini movies to get another movie made. And hence that's why after a year we were able to get Minnesota Nice made. These things take time. Um, and when we were all going to hang out that 2024 summer, we weren't sure exactly what we were going to get up to that night of hanging out. And in preparation, because we were all together, I just got so excited. I actually wrote like a 20-page vampire script. So thanks to vampires, many movies is back in action. Now, of course, we never filmed that, but I gotta say, in terms of movie making, I've never had a grand desire to actually make a zombie movie. I just, I don't know. To me, it's a nobody get upset with me for saying this. Vampire movies to me are punk rock, and country movies are country. Or sorry, zombie movies are country to me. Not in terms of like sounds like country. Yeah, I know. Settle on, take it easy. It's just like I don't have a desire for country so much. Like it's fine. Like people love zombies. Like that's cool. I love watching zombie movies, but like I'm not. I don't want to make it. You know.
So zombie movies are your country. It's not like country, but
It's not like
saying
country.
it's
Yeah,
your country.
it's my country. You know. I ask
Okay.
country in
I get what you're
this.
saying.
Yeah,
Strange way to
like
say it, but I get what you're saying.
yeah. I don't know if that makes much sense.
Mike, you look confused.
You look
Well,
at.
yeah, I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Anyway, no, that's it. So anyway, that being said, I think I would much rather end up many movies make a vampire movie at some point. But yeah, maybe yeah, we'll get something going. I got an idea. All righty. Moving on. Now, Mike, you and Connor were talking earlier in between episodes. Everybody listening, these two went on a riveting line of conversation. The most detailed, fine, gorgeous bit of conversation about a bunch of movies. And then we hit record, and then they did the Talladega Nights with their hands up in the air, and now everything's out the window. But they were talking a little bit about the terror. And one little snippet of said conversation that got through my ADHD riddled brain was something. But now the ADHD riddled brain has gone back to sleep and I don't recall. Just kidding. The terror was mentioned. And Mike or Connor, I don't recall which of you, talked about showing the villain, showing the scary thing.
That was me, Reed.
I thought
Yeah,
so. Weren't you the guy that watched Mad Max with Connor?
yeah, I don't want to talk about that. Anyway, I watch things alone now, and the Terror season one. I think there's a second season. Know nothing about it. They're standalone things, but the first season of that show is brilliant. I think everyone should watch it. Uh, if you're not familiar with the famous disaster of the is it John Franklin? I can't remember his name. The captain, but the vessels Erebus and Terror that traveled up to find the Northwest Passage and mysteriously disappeared, and then subsequently were found to have their members kind of scattered across the sea and land in an attempt to, desperately get back to land because they got iced in. Like it's a very horrible story of survival and cannibalism. And anyway, the mystery surrounding that story allowed them to make a show about it and kind of fill in, well, what happened up there. And that's what they did with this monster they create called the Toonbach. And that's not a spoiler. They right away in the show kind of tell you, they mention that name. And so, yeah, that's part of the show is their attempted survival stuck in the Northwest Passage, 150 years ago. And it's super cool how they did it. But anyway, with my only problem with the show is with most things is anytime there's a monster, I feel like the more you delve into it, the more you reveal it, and definitely the more you show it, the worse it gets and the less creepy and scary it becomes. Um, I feel like that's present in all sorts of movies. And the best ones are usually the ones where they didn't reveal it too much. They didn't show it, dead on. Even think of movies like Signs, when the only one good glimpse you get of the alien is that one scene at a birthday party. Other than that, you just see bits and pieces of it. That made that scene so memorable and like kind of so creepy in the moment. But all in all, the show was fantastic. I think it was wonderful.
I gotta say, your point there on showing the thing in it all, the Tumbach. Yeah, I think I've said many times on here on the podcast that the more you show something in a horror thing, the less horror there is to it. The more that you give away, the less people have to build up on it. It's cool to know that in this thing, the terror, that like it's not quite the case. I think about there's two types of a bad thing, I guess, maybe three if you want to be funny with it, but essentially two. Either you have a horror and a horror scary villain in which it's gotta be something out of this world scary where you can't even show it and you gotta let the audience build up the imagination, or it's a kind of something so scary that it's its own character and not like the legend of a character but an active character, something present like Pennywise and It. Pennywise is a very active character. If you were
Mhm.
to swap out Pennywise with like Michael Myers, that's not gonna work. Pennywise says lines. Pennywise delivers story building things. He very directly says what he's doing. Whereas, a Michael Myers or what do you call it? Barlow from or Marlowe from Salem's Lot, like they don't really say anything. They don't really affect things so directly other than just doing a bad thing, and then you see them occasionally. But yeah, so it's cool to know something can break that trend. Um, yeah, I had another prime example of you just show it that little bit and it does a lot of the work. But I think Science is actually is a fantastic example of
And I have an exception to this, and it was growing up with Connor. No matter how much I saw him, equally horrifying.
never never got better, never got worse. It was just scary.
Yep,
Scared you
you
to the
never got used
bones.
to it. It just horror.
I think actually I might have to sit down while Maddie's out this weekend and watch The Terror because I've always
It's
had a
so good.
thought. There's this historical story of finding the South Pole, in which there was about two teams that tried to get there first. There were, I think, a Norwegian team and a British team about the same time. And the British team, I think, tried to take a path that they sailed to, and then they tried to hike it from this big land shelf and hike over there. And they may have had dogs, but I don't think they had dogs. I think they took it on foot. And things started to go awry for them. I think they maybe even got there. And I think when they got there, they found that the Norwegians had beat them because the Norwegians had sled dogs. And so then the British, I think, got there and they realized we're probably not going to make it back. And I don't think they do make it back. I think they actually end up making it to like a cabin where they had made a base camp, but they end up dying there or something like that. Anyway, really a horrible story of just dying to the cold. And it sounds like it could be a Tumbach thing.
Exactly. You could fill in
Yeah.
any of those stories with something like that. But this one was just they put their money to the right stuff. The acting is brilliant. It's just like the whole vibe of the show is just awesome because you feel like you're trapped with them. It's super cool.
Eerie, creepy, things are devolving. And I love the setup where, sure, they mentioned the Toonbach. There was no Toonbach right away. Things just start going wrong. And
Oh
it's a
yeah.
story of men just trapped and things
And
devolve from there.
if you read
And
about
then you get a Toonbach.
that era in particular, when they were trying to find the Northwest Passage, they were all doomed. Like there was just the weather in general in that time they couldn't have known then, but everything was just particularly cold. I mean, they were doomed from the get go and had no idea.
I think actually in that same breath, the that trip to the South Pole, I think they had actually made their whole trip on this plan of temperature and weather, and they had kind of measured out and they gauged what it should be. And I think it was like a record low of temperatures. And like just completely bad luck, they ended up in a worst case scenario, colder temperatures than they could have ever like even estimated. Like I think it was unimagined before, unhappened before. So yeah. Wow, maybe we're talking about the same. Is the South Pole really the North Passage?
What?
Anyway,
And the captain in the Terror is I don't know the actor's name, but he's Mance Raider from
Yeah,
Matt's
he's awesome.
Raider. I actually had him
he
up
looks
on my
creepy.
computer not too long ago.
He
I
looks
got to get
creepy,
his
he
name.
talks creepy.
Addie and I were watching The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power from Amazon, Mr. Jeffrey Bezos to you, that son of a gun. Terrible show, really awful show. I can't, I love Lord of the Rings, and the other fellas on this will say that they know me as the guy who knows the most about Lord of the Rings to them. It's the worst, the show. It's awful from a
Tried
guy.
so hard to like it. It's so
Yeah,
bad.
I try so hard. I've watched both of the seasons and like I gave it my all. I've recommended
Really
it.
want.
I've tried to help. I'm out. I'm done.
You're
I'm
gonna.
out.
gonna watch it the next season when it comes out, but like I'm gonna hate it. I'm
I
gonna
couldn't
hate it.
finish the first season. It sucked.
It's so bad. It's so bad. It was one of those shows where you ask yourself, like, is this AI written? Like, I remember asking that. Like, it's so bad. The man's name is, if I'm gonna say this right, Siren Hinds, I think is his name. Anyway, we're watching season 2 of The Rings of Power, and Maddie's like, that's Mance Raider, and we're the Dark Wizard, who's essentially, I think, Sauron. Um, yeah, she like totally was like, that's him. And I remember like fighting her on it, like, nah, that's not him. I think I know Mance Raider. I think I know Mance. And I didn't
You
actually.
don't
And
know,
it's
man.
him?
No, like he knows you.
And he's in it. He plays Sauron, or the
That's
Dark Wizard,
crazy.
if you will. There's a yeah, he had a credit in another show I watched. Maybe The English? Was that what I watched? Yeah, The English. That was another good show. He's only in it for an episode, but The English has got Emily Blunt and a fella named Chasky Spencer, who is a Native American. He plays Eli Whip. But you know this fella from the Twilight movies.
Twilight.
Yes, Twilight. Yeah, he's pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. I would recommend it. Anyway,
He's
fellas,
great in Twilight. He's great in Twilight.
good. That's the important thing, is if he was great in Twilight. Let's wrap this up. Let's call her here and say we're good to go.
Ending on Twilight, ending in a good space.
Yeah.
Ending in a good
Good
spot.
spot.
Back to vampires, if you will.
All right.
Hey!
Been a
Okay.
pleasure.
Yeah, good recording. Very good. Excellent work. That was a whole episode of the Whole Other Podcast. It's over now. The podcast is done.